you can proceed in walk. Okay, now we see the same system. I talked about this education system before, that we, number 1, the tact, number 2, the loosening of the horse, number 3, contact, number 4, swing, number 5, straightening of the horse, and number 6, collection. Well, where do we expect to be with this horse? I talked about with the young horse that I expected to be 3 or 4, that he in some ways was taking the hand and going to the bit in brief sequences. This horse, well, we are pretty fast down in number 4. Actually, from the very beginning of the lesson, Annette has a contact, and you see the horse willingly walking towards this very quiet, steady hand, and there is no the rein is not loose actually at any second. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't give the horse freedom sometimes, but the acceptance of the bit, the horse is very constant on the rein. There has been a lot of discussion what comes first. Well, the self-carriage or the balance is produced by the contact, or the contact is produced by the self-carriage and balance produced by the straightening of the horse as we track him and we find the right speed. Well, it's a combination, in my experience. When the horse, through loosening work and the track, starts to look for the hand, the self-carriage will come because he goes into the hand. He cannot close his 3 joints behind if he doesn't have something to go to. You can start trotting a little bit. I talked about before these 3 joints. Well, if the horse has nothing to go to in the other end, he will never be able to close his 3 joints. He can only push his hindquarters kind of the wrong way. That means he runs around. When a horse carries, he closes his hindquarters, and he can only do that if he is ridden on the hand. That's why it's a basic, very basic and essential thing that you learn to ride your horse to the bit. You see now, we're riding in a slow pace, and I would like to make very clear that we slow a horse like this down because he has a forwardness. If you have a horse with a lack of forwardness, do not ride them down in that pace. But we do this with this horse because he always thinks forward. And as I said before, the shorter she rides in the warm-up, and of course make sure that the horse moves straight, the more he has to close his 3 joints. I mean, there's not a lot of idea in rushing around for 10 minutes where the horse pushes his weight and the rider's weight around. It's much more sufficient to warm him up in a certain way that his joints and muscles gets warmed up in a much more appropriate way. We don't want to ride very big now with a lot of expression. We just want the horse to relax and get warm in his muscles, get warm in his mind, relax, and starts to stretch his top line. Now, it's very difficult to see today that this horse has been very tense because he walks very nice and calmly, completely even in his tact. He shies a little bit in the corner here, and he's quite steady on the hand. In the warm-up, we don't put them that deep, and that's because the horse can't stretch in the beginning of the lesson. Of course, we can stretch them to a certain degree, but I will show you that the longer we get in the lesson, the more we can stretch the top line, because the stretched top line is that the horse closes his hindquarters. That is the product of the joints being bent behind. That is the outline. And believe me, you can never, by putting the horse down with any incorrect method on your hand, get the result that he will step in and bend his back legs and stretch his back just because you put the head down. You see now he starts to stretch more. It's something the horse has to do by his own free will. Close your left hand around the rein. So the stretch work, you can't force a horse to stretch. You can't force him to bend. You can't force him to collect. It has to come through patient work. You can only do one thing by forcing the horse, that is to make him short and tense. And that's not a thing we want. Now we start, see Annette starts now to ride a little bit more forward going speed now. Try to now to make his hindquarters a little bit more active and make him go a little bit more into the hand. Get a little bit more impression in the trot. And try to notice this rider's seat, this calm hand, quiet legs, nothing is interfering with the horse's balance. He doesn't show any discomfort. He comes a little bit more around now, try the circle. Yeah, that's a... Now when you ride a circle, if you come down here, try to think that you ride on a straight line. There is no reason to ride any bending whatsoever into the back of a horse or a 20-meter circle. You flex him a little bit in your hand to the inside, but that's all. Try always to ride him straight, so the hindquarters step straight in under the horse. If you bend the neck, try to overbend the neck on it. You see this a lot. Yes, a little bit more. He will now start to avoid the hand. See the discomfort, see his ears. He cannot step his right hind leg up underneath the body because he is bended in the shoulder. And that's what we're dealing with a lot. Yeah, that's good, just make him straight again. That is that rider overbends the horse. I call it overbending, but actually it has nothing with the bending to do, because the horse will just avoid the action of the rein by bending the neck down at the shoulders. In that way, the action of the rein has absolutely no influence on the hind leg at the same side. So when we flex a horse, we do it to get a little bit more stepping in on the hind leg on the same side. You see, this is a flexion. And she activates him a little bit with the with her right leg to make the right hindquarter come a little bit more up underneath the body. But it's only a flexion in the neck. And you see, he finds this a little bit more strengthening. So if the horse, oh yeah, like that. So it's, your hand is the regulator. It regulates how much the horse should step up in behind if the horse goes correctly to the hand. Yeah. Now we can see if he wants to stretch more, and that he wants. Good. See, he wants to go deeper now. But all the time he should go to Annette's hand. He should not be loose in the hand at this stage in the basic training with an educated horse. Like, see how he now starts to stretch down. Now it does not make matters easier for him. It's much harder for him to work in that outline than up in the working outline. Good. And you can ride a little bit on the other track, so we can produce a left flexion. Oh. Good. You can flex him to the left. He should be straight in the body, but a little flexion up in the neck if he's ready on it. To flex the horse to the left means that he has to be stable up on her right hand. If he is not going sufficient to the right hand, we will not produce a flexion, because that will only make the horse goes behind the hand. So this looks all right. A little bit more flexion. Good. Good. And make him straight again. Oh yeah. But it's just to give the impression that a flexion is in the neck. It's in the pole, in the gullet. It's not down in the neck, down at the shoulder. Be aware that the horse flexes the right place. When you have your hands up where Annette have her hands close together, you should always see that the rein is in contact with the horse's neck. If she overbends the neck, you would see that there's a gap between the rein and the neck, like now. This horse is overbended, and it's very clear that he feels discomfort. Make him straight again. Good. See, the minute she makes him straight, ears pricked, steps in behind, no sign of tensions. Good. We let him walk a little bit.